Tonight on KGW News, a passenger plane crash lands and flips upside down, and miraculously everyone survives. Plus,
and so we're not really looking to be passive on the sidelines. These nurses deserve, a fair contract.
6 weeks into a strike with pressure mounting to make a deal, what we're learning is Providence and nurses prepare to return to mediation. Also, a crime spree up and down I-5 from a robbery to carjackings, all while trying to escape police. Then a follow-up to a KGW investigation into some rideshare drivers who illegally rejected passengers with service animals. Why some riders say the new company changes don't go far enough. And later,
yeah, it's great today. We're glad we got in the car and came up here. Lots of powder.
As winter returns to top form on the slopes of Mount Hood. Thanks for joining us. I'm David Mulco. Our top story at 11, at least 18 people are hurt, though all 80 on board are alive after a Delta jet crashed and overturned while landing in Toronto. The CRJ was touching down and blowing snow this afternoon at Pearson Airport after a short flight from Minneapolis. We understand the runway was dry, though there were winds gusting at up to 40 miles an hour. Communication between air traffic control and pilots appeared to be normal on final approach, and it is not clear yet what went wrong.
My friend rushed there first, and then he said the CRJ is crashed on the runway. So I was like, yeah, I gotta go check it out. And the next thing I saw is basically a plane, the CRJ plane that basically flipped on the runway.
That aircraft was evacuated, and first responders were on the scene within minutes, throwing foam on the fuselage to put out a fire. Officials say most of those hurt had minor injuries and walked away from the crash. Canada will take the lead in the investigation, with the U.S. playing a key role. NBC will have much more from Toronto, including on the Today Show that includes video from inside the aircraft as the flight crew and passengers work to help each other escape from that upside-down wreckage. That's tomorrow at 7 in the morning, right after KGW News at sunrise. Caught on camera, a close call for a deputy in Jefferson County. Want to let you know no one was seriously injured. This was Thursday afternoon on Highway 97. The deputy was responding to one crash when you saw it there. A speeding pickup truck with a trailer lost control and smashed into the stopped vehicle. The driver missed the deputy and another person by just a few feet. Another reminder to slow down in poor conditions and to move over when you can for first responders. Well, here in the valley, the winter weather has thankfully melted away. It's 49 degrees on this Monday with a live look over downtown Portland from a Rose City Sky camera. A significantly milder day and evening compared to this time last week, with our typical February rain and a little bit of wind on the way. Chief Meteorologist Matt Sfino tracking all of it tonight in your first forecast. Hi, Matt.
Hey, David, we hit 55 degrees today. Not our warmest day of the year, but close. Just 1 degree shy of what we made on January 6th when we hit 56. So, yes, it was a warm day, and we've got a lot of warm days on the way. So I'll show you in the 7-day forecast a little bit later on. Right now, still a few showers moving through Clark County and up into Skamania County, also out in the gorge, and some snow showers on the mountain. It wasn't our best ski weekend of the year. It was a little bit wet, but it was a lot of new snow. And that's winding down too right now. The mild conditions will continue, though, through the week. So the headlines look like this. We've got rainy and breezy weather on the way on Wednesday. I'll show you that storm system may produce some pretty good winds at the coast. And then after a dry spell, a rainy weekend, but staying warm right through the week. David?
I got to say, 55 never felt so good. Thank you, Matt. Developing tonight, authorities are investigating what they call a suspicious death on Sauvie Island. The Multnomah County Sheriff's Office says a body was found this afternoon on the banks of the Willamette near Northwest Gillihan Road. An autopsy will identify the victim and how they died. At this point, authorities say they do not believe there is a danger to the public. We will update you as we learn more. New at 11, Portland City Council is weighing in on the Providence strike now in its 6th week after thousands of nurses rejected a tentative deal. And they are urging the hospital system to bargain in what they call good faith. Alma McCarty spoke with 2 of the 12 counselors about that message tonight. Alma?
Well, David, Providence and the Oregon Nurses Association will return to the bargaining table tomorrow with mediation scheduled for the next 2 days. City leaders hope they will settle these contracts for the sake of the entire community.
Since January 10th, thousands of unionized nurses from 8 Providence hospitals across the state have been on strike, seeking competitive wages, better working conditions, and increased staffing levels.
These nurses deserve, a fair contract.
More than a week ago, those nurses rejected a tentative agreement from Providence, arguing the offer didn't go far enough to address their concerns. Last Thursday, Providence then announced striking caregivers would lose their health benefits on February 28th.
The punishing nature of being denied a fair contract, being driven to a strike, and then compounded with the punishment of this threat of cutting off health insurance is really unsafe and unacceptable.
Now, as both sides prepare to return to the bargaining table, Portland's newly elected leaders urge Providence leadership to do better and engage in good faith negotiations. Here's Portland City Council Vice President Tiffany Koyama Lane from District 3.
Heading into the 6th week of this strike, it really felt like it was time for us as Portland City councilors to weigh in. We all have been hearing from our constituents about concerns, and at this point, it's not just about affecting the jobs of community members, but really this is also about the safety and the care of our community members.
And Councilor Mitch Green from District 4 agrees, signing the letter from all but one of the councilors.
We're not really looking to be passive on the sidelines when a major employer in the region that's responsible for public health and public safety is in a dispute with their employees.
On Monday, Providence confirmed they'll return to bargaining with assistance of federal mediators and go on to say, at the mediators' request, we are not commenting further on the status of negotiations at this time. Council hopes for a quick and equitable resolution.
Remember in 2020 when we were banging pots and pans and thanking our essential workers? Well, they've been there the whole time. And you thank them by showing up in a contract and giving them the resources they need so we can recruit, retain, and fairly pay nurses.
Last month, the governor urged both sides to immediately resolve their disagreements, and several Oregon lawmakers signed a letter ahead of the strike to reach a deal to avoid this walkout. We will keep you posted as negotiations continue.
Yeah, 6 weeks and counting. Appreciate the update, Alma. To get you caught up on tonight's other headlines now, police are investigating a series of crimes in Northeast Portland that they say appear to be connected. Those include a robbery at a Subway restaurant and several carjackings. Police say the suspect, Jeffrey Boone, was then spotted in Vancouver in a stolen car. He's accused of abandoning that car, stealing another one, and then driving down I-5. State police eventually arrested him near Salem. In Fairview, a truck flipped onto its side this afternoon after it got caught in overhead power lines. Wait till you see the surveillance video. It shows the truck trying to leave a parking lot with what appears to be a hook of some sort still extended in the back, getting caught on the wires, eventually getting caught, tipping, and then toppling over there. The crash near Sandy and Northwest 223rd caused a small power outage. The driver stayed in the vehicle and was not hurt. And Oregon families have just 2 more days to make sure their kids are up to date on vaccines. If students don't have updated records by Wednesday, they could be sent home from school. Under state law, children in preschool, Head Start, and public and private schools must have documentation showing they are up to date on required immunizations. In Salem today, advocates held what they call the Choose Children Day of Action. They are urging for more investments in areas like early childhood education, health, and family supports. And they were joined by both current and former Oregon politicians, including former Governor John Kitzhaber.
I think we're here because we want Oregon to be a state that values and prioritizes primary prevention and investments in very young children. We know that the seeds that undermine the health of our children are planted very early, often before birth.
Supporters say some of the state's biggest challenges like homelessness and addiction often stem from childhood experiences, and support for kids should be part of the solution. Also on this President's Day across the country, people protested over what they're calling President Trump's executive overreach. That includes rallies in Portland and Salem. The nationwide movement is called the 50-51 movement. 50 states, 50 protests, 1 day. The protests say they reject the goals of Project 2025, along with Elon Musk's influence over federal agencies. The organizers also say they are planning more protests. Tonight, we're following up on a KGW investigation into rideshare services after our reporting exposed some drivers illegally refusing to take people with service dogs. Now some companies have made changes, though, as investigative reporter Kyle Leboshi found out, some passengers say they are not good enough.
Just months after a KGW investigation highlighted how Uber and Lyft drivers are rejecting rides for people who are legally blind and their guide dogs, the problem continues. Erica Daniels captured this interaction on her cell phone on January 23rd.
The dog's along with you, right?
Yeah, he's my guide dog, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Shoot. I don't do the Uber pets. I'm sorry.
He's not a pet, he's a service animal.
I know, but I don't do the...
It doesn't matter if it's a service animal, though. You're supposed to take them all.
I'm sorry, ma'am.
I really wanted to say more than I did. I was like, don't say anything you shouldn't, because then that's just going to put me in the bad spot. So I just did not. I kept my mouth shut.
For years, Daniels and others have complained to Uber and Lyft that the rideshare companies aren't doing enough to stop discrimination against those who are blind, particularly people with guide dogs, which violates state and federal law and the company's own policies.
I just wish that there could just be some respect, for some dignity, as far as recognizing that, you know, we are people.
In early February, Uber launched a new feature which allows riders to opt in, letting drivers know they've got a service animal.
Service animal handlers now have the option to self-identify in the app, automatically notify drivers when traveling, and get proactive support if something goes wrong.
If a driver tries to cancel the trip, they'll get a notification warning. Canceling a ride because of a service animal is against the law. In a statement, the National Federation of the Blind wrote, "We appreciate Uber's willingness to engage with our feedback and create a fully voluntary self-identification feature."
I wish it would work. Honestly, I'm doubtful.
Patricia Kepler, Sharon Zenger, and Erica Daniels have all had rideshare drivers who refuse to take their guide dogs.
I already disclosed on my rider pickups that I'm disabled and I have a service animal. It hasn't stopped the discrimination.
They believe the new feature on Uber doesn't go far enough.
I don't know. We gotta all start suing them or something.
The discrimination will only stop, they say, if there are financial penalties.
There's gonna have to be a fine somewhere and make sure that these laws are followed.
Uber and Lyft say they've made their service animal policies clear, worked to educate drivers, and made it easier to file complaints. But these passengers explain they're still being rejected by rideshare drivers.
I'm sorry. You're going to have to find another Uber.
Uber does offer a pet-friendly service in Portland called Uber Pets, but keep in mind what we're talking about is different. By law, people with service animals cannot be charged extra and cannot be denied service. Kyle Aboshi, KGW News.
Great follow-up from Kyle there. You are